name's Matthew Quilliam, and this is a little video about how to add passing chords and fancy little extra chords into your George Formby soloing in order to make your solos more impressive and more fun to play and just more interesting. Now this video is actually a little bit of a follow-on from a video I made last week, the link to which, where you can see this video, is appearing on screen now, and it'll be at the end of the video as well. In that video I go through the 3 ways that you can incorporate passing chords into music generally, and if you want a bit more in-depth explanations as to what I'm actually doing, then do check that video out, as I'm not going to repeat myself too much in this one. However, this is more of an application of the processes described in that video on how to apply those kinds of things to George Formby solos. So passing chords are the name given to chords that are thrown in that aren't absolutely fundamental to the overall harmony of a song, but can really complement the song in a really musical way that sounds good. Passing chords are ways to go from one chord to another, and often a good concept to bear in mind when thinking about adding little extra decorative chords is the concept of a target chord. Yeah, you've got to know where you're going, and you've also got to know where you're coming from, and you've got to be able to get in between in a really musical way. So we use passing chords to get to target chords. Now a target chord can literally be any chord that you're going to, but a passing chord, there are a few rules and little things that you should bear in mind if you want to make them sound particularly good. The first is called a secondary dominant passing chord, and that's simply looking at the circle of fifths. You know what your target chord is, you find that on the circle of fifths, and then you look to the chord one round clockwise on this diagram, and you play the dominant 7th version of that chord into the target chord. For example, if we're going to a G, then we have to look around the circle of fifths 1 degree clockwise, and we see that the appropriate passing chord will be a D, or we're going to make it a 7 chord, so a D7. Let's say we're going from C to G7, we're going to go via that D7 that we just picked out. And this works in all different keys as well. Just identify your target chord, and then the appropriate passing chord, if you want to use this particular method, will be 1 round on the circle of fifths. Another way you can have a passing chord is if you can identify your target chord shape. Again, let's use the example of G7, and you can actually use the shape and slide it up or down depending on how you want to approach the chord. So you're keeping the shape exactly the same, but you're just moving it up each time. The final passing chord that I like to teach doesn't really apply to Formby's music, so I'm not going to cover it in this video. However, you can find out about gradual morphing of chords in that video that I mentioned earlier. So for Formby we have 2 different types of passing chords. We have secondary dominance, and we also have changing a shape, or moving a shape like that. So how do we apply this to Formby? Well, we need to look at the right hand first of all, and we're going to play one split stroke cycle. Down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. Yeah? Now, I tend to put passing chords in on those very last down, up. So if we take an example of C to G7 via the D7, it would be down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. I'll do it again. Down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. So it's always good to land on the target chord right at the beginning of a cycle of the split stroke. And so you want to sacrifice a little bit of the previous chord to throw in the passing chord where appropriate. So that's at one place you can put it, right at the end of a split cycle. However, if you've got a longer passage, say for example you're leaning on a lamppost, and that's actually got 4 cycles of the split stroke on just a C chord, that's quite a long time to be on a C chord. So you can actually sacrifice one, or not sacrifice, but change one of those bars to become a D7. So in effect you're playing a whole cycle of this passing chord. The same applies for the other type as well, the movable shape. Something like that. So if you've got a longer passage of music with just one chord or one or two chords, then feel free to put in more passing chords, whereas if you've got a quick change, then you might just have to change a little bit within the split cycle itself. I'm going to play a little bit of the solo from the song On the Wigan Boat Express, and first of all I'm going to play it normally, and then I'm going to play it again, demonstrating where you could put in some passing chords as a sort of springboard for you to get some ideas from. So here we go, Wigan Boat Express, normal version first. And now I'm going to play it a little bit slower, and this time I'm going to put in some passing chords, both those secondary dominant ones and also some of the movable shapes as well. See if you can spot them, and and pay particular notice to the right hand rhythm to see what part of the split stroke I am dedicating to the passing chords. So here we go, do a bit slower. I hope that's been useful. If you do have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below. You can also get in touch with me on my website, which is in the bottom corner of this video. The instrument I've been playing in this video is the Duke 10, which is a tenor scale banjolele that is currently made in New Zealand. Now this instrument is really lovely. I think the neck is really nice and playable, and it's great for people who've got a little bit bigger fingers and perhaps struggle with the soprano scale banjoleles. It's also got a really nice sound, and it even plugs in as well. So yeah, definitely go ahead and check this out. I'll put the website where you can find out more information on screen now. Thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed that video and have a great day.